Coming up now on your spoiler-free wrestling news rundown, the first few battles in the war between the Guerrillas of Destiny and Bullet Club took place on the New Japan Cup Tour earlier this week. We've also got results from the tournament matches in the New Japan Cup and news from elsewhere around the wrestling world. Subscribe to Spoiler-Free Wrestling for all your wrestling news. The fallout from Bullet Club's betrayal of the Guerrillas of Destiny continued on the New Japan Cup Tour on Monday and Tuesday this week. We will get to all the results from those shows, but first let's start off with matches specifically involving the Guerrillas of Destiny taking on members of Bullet Club. On both shows, Tama Tonga, Tangaloa, and G.O.D teamed up to face members of Bullet Club. On the Monday show, the Guerrillas of Destiny faced Bullet Club members Taiji Ishimori, El Phantasmo, and Bad Luck Fale. And boy, have Taiji Ishimori and El Phantasmo gotten on the same page. There was something about turning on the Guerrillas of Destiny that really brought Ishimori and El Phantasmo together and also helped El Phantasmo get over his hesitancy to super kick people. So the Guerrillas of Destiny attacked Bullet Club before the bell could even ring, and we had a brawl on our hands throughout the match. Now, the finish of the match saw G.O.D come out and distract G.O.D, however, and this allowed El Phantasmo to seize the opportunity, hit G.O.D with sudden death, and pick up the win for Bullet Club. So this was the first battle in what stands to be a very long war between these two factions. Then on Tuesday, the Guerrillas of Destiny would face Bad Luck Fale, Chase Owens, and G.O.D. Similar to the night before, Bullet Club would pick up the victory when everyone but Chase Owens and G.O.D were brawling on the outside of the ring. Owens hit G.O.D with the C-trigger and once again picked up the victory for Bullet Club. So in the first two clashes between Bullet Club and the Guerrillas of Destiny, we have Bullet Club picking up the victory each time. At this stage, though, it's not so much about wins and losses in multi-person tag matches. There will be plenty of time for that. One has to wonder how long it will be before we see singles matches pitting, say, Tama Tonga versus Bad Luck Fale, or G.O.D versus G.O.D. Any number of singles matches could be booked in the coming months between the Guerrillas of Destiny and Bullet Club. Now, Tama Tonga has been active on Twitter in recent days, and he answered one question that many of you have been asking in the comment section recently, and that's, what is going on with Kenta? Where does Kenta stand in all of this? So Kenta has been out of action since the third night of Wrestle Kingdom this year. He's been dealing with the accumulation of a variety of injuries. He posted the following to Twitter recently, writing, "Betrayer or betrayed, hashtag Bullet Club, hashtag G.O.D, hashtag House of Torture," almost as if he was asking his followers, which side should I land on? Which side do you want me to be with? But Tama Tonga put any debate about that to bed when he responded to Kenta. Tama Tonga wrote, "You ain't with G.O.D, that's a fact. Go beg your daddy Jay White to keep you, cause you sure ain't with me. Got disloyalty branded on your forehead, sitting on the fence." So, Kenta is not going to be invited to the Guerrillas of Destiny, so he will remain with Bullet Club most likely. Tonga also sent this message to Kenta, writing the word "at" and then tagging Kenta, saying you shouldn't have to question which side you're on, with a couple of emojis of giving the middle finger. Tama Tonga also had some messages for Jay White on Twitter. Jay White had posted this video of a backstage interview of Tama Tonga, and Tonga responded to that, this was yesterday, saying, "What happened to you, Jay White? Responsibility too great? Pressure too much? Wins against Omega and Okada was a fluke. The Great White hype was a dud. You should be thanking me for saving your name. I'll collect soon, though." And he also poked a little fun at Jay White's US of J Open Challenge that he has been doing in the United States as of late. Tama Tonga wrote, "Nobody gives about an open challenge for a non-title holding ass Jay White. Betraying me is as much highlight as a snake like you is going to get." Also on the New Japan Cup Tour this week, on Tuesday's show, in the second match, we saw El Phantasmo and Taiji Ishimori, who again are working well together, take on Fujita and Master Wato. So Bullet Club picked up the victory here, but then continued the attack on Wato after the match, bringing out his tag team partner. They are the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. That brought out Taguchi. So Taguchi and Wato then got into it with Phantasmo and Taiji Ishimori, and that could lead one to believe that we're going to have an IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team title match upcoming between these two teams. And wouldn't that be fitting for Phantasmo and Ishimori? After having all these problems for so long, but now being united once again, they've got a chance to put gold around their waist. That should be an interesting match if we do in fact get it in the near future. Also, Sho has been attacking El Desperado, and so we could get a match upcoming between Sho and El Desperado for that Junior Heavyweight Championship. So let's just quickly go over the results from the tournament matches in the New Japan Cup on Monday and Tuesday. On Monday, we saw a big upset as Shima defeated Hiroki Goto to advance to the quarterfinals. And in the main event that night, we saw Kazuchika Okada defeat Taichi. Then on Tuesday, Jeff Cobb defeated Yoshihashi in the semi-main event, and Tetsuya Naito defeated Hiroshi Tanahashi. So they both advanced to the quarterfinals as well. So let's just run through the lineup now for Thursday's and Friday's show on the New Japan Cup Tour. On Thursday, the opening match will see El Phantasmo and Taiji Ishimori continue their quest for IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Gold. They're going to take on Yo and Tiger Mask in the opening contest. Then later in the third match, we will see the third battle between the Guerrillas of Destiny and Bullet Club as Tama Tonga, Tangaloa, and G.O.D team up to take on Gedo, Chase Owens, and Bad Luck Fale. We will see the House of Torture in tag team action as Dick Togo, Sho, Yujiro Takahashi, and Evil will take on Bushi, Shingo Takagi, Tetsuya Naito, and Hiramu Takahashi. Then in the tournament itself, we'll see two quarterfinal matches on Thursday. Zack Sabre Jr. takes on Great Khan, and in the main event, Sonata will take on Will Ospreay. That takes us to Friday's show. And there we will see House of Torture members Yujiro Takahashi and Sho take on Doki. So Doki and El Desperado will take on Yujiro Takahashi and Sho. And we should find out more about if Sho is going to be challenging for El Desperado's title during that match. Then we will see another battle between the Guerrillas of Destiny and Bullet Club as Jado, Tangaloa, and Tama Tonga team up once again to take on El Phantasmo, Taiji Ishimori, and Bad Luck Fale. Then later in the tournament itself, it's a big show for Bullet Club as the final two Bullet Club members left in the tournament will wrestle. Shingo Takagi will take on Chase Owens. Now, in multi-person tag matches leading up to this, Takagi has told Chase Owens he plans to beat him in under 5 minutes. We'll see if that takes place. And in the main event, we will see Hiramu Takahashi take on Evil. Thursday evening is also a fairly important night for Bullet Club as Impact Wrestling will air an episode. Last week's episode saw Jay White, Chris Bay, Carl Anderson, and Doc Gallows get into a promo battle with the Motor City Machine Guns. And on this week's show, we will see Jay White and Chris Bay team up to take on Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin from the Motor City Machine Guns. That should be a very good match. It was a very good promo segment last week. In other New Japan Pro Wrestling news, the promotion announced that Killer Kross will make his New Japan Strong debut. He's going to take on Minoru Suzuki on Friday, April 1st at Lone Star Shootout from Dallas, Texas over WrestleMania weekend. That should be a big match. Now, New Japan Pro Wrestling does have one show and set of tapings booked between now and Lone Star Shootout. That is Strong Style Evolve 2022 on March 20th, so in just a few days, from the St. Petersburg Coliseum in Tampa Bay, Florida. Announced for that show include Chris Sabin versus Jay White, Shane Strickland versus Blake Christian, TJP versus Mascara Dorada, Jay Lethal versus Ren Narita. Tom Lawler is going to defend the strong openweight title against Clark Connors. Buddy Matthews will take on Yuya Uemura. Eddie Kingston and Fred Rosser will team up to take on Daniel Garcia and Fred Yehi. Rocky Romero and Wheeler Yuta will take on Black Tiger and JR Kratos. Finn Juice, David Finlay and Juice Robinson will take on Jonah and Shane Haste. Josh Alexander versus Carl Fredericks. Big Damo will take on John Schuyler. Andy Brown will take on Hikuleo on Sunday. So Sunday will be the first time that we've seen Hikuleo in action since Bullet Club turned on the Guerrillas of Destiny. So it'll be interesting to see if we find out more about what Hikuleo is up to on that show. Also, the DKC will take on Kevin Knight. So announced for the Lone Star Shootout show on Friday, April 1st is Jay White versus Speedball Mike Bailey, Tomohiro Ishii versus Chris Dickinson, Rocky Romero versus Ren Narita, Finn Juice teaming up with Daniel Garcia and Kevin Knight to take on Mascara Dorada, Carl Fredericks, Clark Connors, and Yuya Uemura. Most likely more matches for that show will be announced after Strong Style Evolved this weekend. It was also an interesting week for former Bullet Club members in WWE. Now, with the departure of people like Carl Anderson, Doc Gallows, and Adam Cole in recent months and years, we were down to just Finn Balor, the former Prince Devitt, and AJ Styles in terms of former Bullet Club members in WWE. And we found out a little bit more about what they might be doing on WrestleMania this year. So AJ Styles recently answered Edge's WrestleMania challenge, and Edge promptly turned heel and attacked AJ Styles. And so now we will have a babyface AJ Styles taking on a heel Edge at WrestleMania. Also recently in WWE, the former Prince Devitt, Finn Balor defeated Damian Priest to win the United States Championship. However, on this week's episode of Raw, Damian Priest defeated Balor in a non-title match. And so that has led to some speculation we could see the rubber match between those two on WrestleMania. We're also not too sure where things stand with free agent Cody Rhodes, if he is WWE bound or not. He did not show up on the episode of Raw from Jacksonville. However, there were numerous subtle references to Cody Rhodes on the show, including a reference to the Colossus of Rhodes statue. There was comments about Seth Rollins' path to WrestleMania being dashed and his dreams or vision having become a nightmare. And of course, those might be references to Cody Rhodes' nicknames that he's used in the past. He's been Dashing Cody Rhodes. He's been the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes. So really, we don't know anything more other than WWE is teasing that Cody Rhodes might be coming in. But other than that, there is nothing concrete out there about what's next for Cody Rhodes. Big E is now back at home in Tampa, Florida, after suffering 2 broken vertebrae in his neck after being given an overhead belly-to-belly suplex last Friday on SmackDown. So as we mentioned in previous videos, he did fracture 2 of his vertebrae. However, nothing is displaced and there was no damage to his spinal cord. He does not require surgery for the injury, which is a good sign. However, he still has a long road ahead of him. AEW presents St. Patrick's Day Slam tonight on Dynamite, and several big matches have been booked for tonight's show. We will see Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson team up once again with William Regal in their corner to take on Chuck Taylor and Wheeler Yuta. The TNT Championship will be on the line tonight as Scorpio Sky defends against Wardlow. Adam Cole is going to be teaming up with Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. They're going to take on Hangman Page and Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. On last week's episode, we saw that the Young Bucks didn't want to team with Adam Cole to go up against Adam Hangman Page. The Young Bucks don't want to wrestle former Bullet Club member, former Elite member Hangman Page. So I think that's an interesting development as it concerns the Elite, Bullet Club, and the ongoing drama in AEW. Also tonight, inside of a steel cage, AEW Women's World Champion Britt Baker defends against Thunder Rosa. Tonight's show will be in Thunder Rosa's hometown of San Antonio as well. Also announced for tonight, Chris Jericho's new stable, the Jericho Appreciation Society will hold a commencement segment. So not really sure what that means, but it'll happen tonight on Dynamite. And that'll do it for this video, everyone. Subscribe to Spoiler Free Wrestling for all your wrestling news.